Hey cousins, welcome to Brown Liquor and Bad Ideas.
Welcome, cousins, to this episode of Brown Liquor and Bad Ideas. I'm your host, Cornell Wright, and today we're going to make a toast and a conversation to truckers. Cousins, you know how it is. You get a news feed on your phone and all of a sudden you're looking at something that really wasn't what you were thinking about. So one of the things that kind of got my attention the other day was the 2021 truck lines that were being announced by a number of different truck companies. I think I saw a Kenworth, I saw an International, I saw a Volvo, and I don't know about you, but when I'm driving down the highways, I do try to take a look at the trucks. Maybe I'm a little kid, maybe because I've always had a fantasy about being a truck driver, but I kind of take a look at the trucks. They are absolutely gorgeous, some of these new ones. In fact, some of the other ones have a lot of nostalgia value and appreciation and nice aesthetics as well. But the technology, the aerodynamics, and the significance of these things in our life are very important. So I figured I'd talk to one of my buddies in preparation of this conversation. So I actually talked to a trucker in order to get some information, hopefully pass on to you, that'll give you a little more appreciation of how critical truckers are to our lives. And I would suggest that as we're going through 2020 and 2021 with the pandemic, etc., truckers have played an invaluable role in our lives. And we need to appreciate them more. And in fact, to toast them just one more time because it's the right thing to do. So, cousins, think about your house. Sit around, look at your house, sit around, look at your office, wherever you might be. Recognize every single thing in there has been on a truck at some point in time. Think about that for a second. Everything. Everything. Clothes, food, furniture, your music, what was delivered by whomever delivered just a few moments ago, all the PPEs during the course of the COVID times, the drugs are being delivered by trucks. Think about all the things that are being delivered by trucks and being driven by truck drivers. There are about 3.5 million truck drivers in the United States. There are independents, there's small businesses, there's larger businesses. You see the differences along the way. Sometimes you see somebody in the truck, they got their name on it and so-and-so and daughter or so-and-so and son, small companies, right? You see a couple other organizations or trucks, they may have a smaller name, some have larger names, okay? But the point is they're all delivering the things that we need from one part of our country to another. Be it from Florida oranges going up to wherever other things are being manufactured and things that we all need to get moved from point A to point B. Truckers do it for us. And so particularly as you start looking at now, think about just a couple weeks ago in Texas, right? They had difficulties with the roads because they were icing. Trucks couldn't deliver the vaccines to a lot of the cousins who need them in Texas until the roads got cleared so they could resume their driving. Why? Because it's dangerous at times to be a trucker. So cousins, one of the concerns that truckers have is us driving in passenger cars. Here's a little factoid that you might not know from talking to my buddy. It takes an 80,000-pound truck, which is the cab, all the stuff you see on the front, and whatever he may be carrying in the trailer, he or she carrying in the trailer, 80,000 pounds. At 55 miles an hour, it takes them 300 feet to stop in dry weather. All right? The average passenger car, not pedestrian, passenger car, it takes at 60 miles an hour, it takes 120 to 140 feet to stop. So cousins, you do the math. That means that trucks need a longer position to stop, going from 55 to 0, than you and your passenger car does from 60 to 0. So we need to give them what? More space. Now, how many of us have in fact cut off a truck at some point in time? I perhaps have been guilty of that as well, and I try not to do it ever. But when you think about it, truckers are out there delivering a valuable service to us. That's their business, their truck. They're delivering stuff for us that we need and we all want. And so in talking to them, and they have hours of service, this might be important to you too, of recognizing how they go about living their lives. So when you see a trucker out on the road, they basically have what they refer to as a 14-hour day. During the course of 14 hours, they actually can be driving for 11 of those hours. Think about that, cousins. Because of traffic jams, because of delays, because of accidents, etc., they get 14 hours to be behind the wheel, of which 11 of those are actually moving. Most truckers then, that means they do 600 to 700 miles a day. I don't know how many of you have driven long distance before, but you start driving 600 to 700 miles a day, that's work. In order to be able to be attentive, in order to be able to be caring, in order to be able to be safe, what's going on the road, it's a tribute to them and their discipline. So, but you think about it, cousin, here we come in with our passenger cars, and what do? Well, my buddy had a couple ideas for what I thought we all ought to consider as being passenger car etiquette as you relate to trucks. A couple of do's and don'ts, if you will, bad ideas not to do. Recognizing that as you have in your car blind spots, and even with the new designs of all the trucks with the multiple mirrors and larger mirrors, etc., they also have blind spots. Try not to be in a truck's blind spot, because sometimes you see if you can't see his mirrors, he can't see you, okay? The other side is that when you're passing on the right, try not to do that, cousins. But when you get on the right of the truck, sometime in the middle, they can't see you. It's a blind spot for them, all right? Be conscious of that. One of the others in regards to cutting off trucks. I've seen this, and we've all seen it. We've been on the highways, and someone's driving along. The truck has what? Given a safe distance between he or she and the car in front of them. And then someone zips in front of them, okay, in between that other car and the truck. And almost all the times, what do you see? The truck slows down and backs off to give that new car that just came into the distance more space. Why? That's that safety zone space I just talked about, cousins. Remember that 300 feet stopping? Yeah, that one, okay? The other is, to start you looking at it, is that there's this thing called road rage. Cousins, trucks become involved with that more than anyone else sometimes. Give trucks consideration. They're trying to do a job. They're trying to deliver valuable services and valuable goods that we all need and want. The other aspect of looking at it is that when we are driving, and perhaps some of you are not doing this, but maybe I have at one point in time, driving while you're on your cell phone and perhaps not being as attentive to the road, okay? Trucks only got 2 lanes to work with on most 3-lane highways. Give them consideration. And the other part is merging. Oh, come on, please. You know, how many of you at different points of time have been trying to race a truck to come onto an intersection or coming onto an on-ramp? Don't do that. Give them a break. Why? Because at the end of the day, we want truckers to get safely to their destinations. They're working hard for us, they're working hard, and they're taking care of us in so many ways. So cousins, here's one to truckers. I want you to continue to stay on the roads, buddies and gals. Stay safe, because we need you. And for the rest of us, keep some of these etiquette ideas in mind and not take the bad idea components of driving. Let's be a little more considerate for everybody. With that, cousins, I want to thank you for joining me today. Continue wearing your mask, because we need to, even with the vaccine. Get the vaccines when it comes your way. It's being rolled out across the country because of truckers, and we want them to continue to being able to do that, and we want to get our vaccines as soon as possible. So maybe we can join a little bit more of this summer coming up. Take care, cousins. Until next time on Brown Liquor and Bad Ideas.
We are the people.